Alright, so problem 19-1A, which is on page 802. Cialino Company's March 31st inventory of raw materials is 80,000. Raw materials purchases in April are 500,000, and factory payroll costs in April is 363,000. Overhead costs incurred in April are indirect materials of 50,000, indirect labor of 23,000, factory rent of 32,000, factory utilities of 19,000, and factory equipment depreciation of 51,000. The predetermined overhead rate is 50% of direct labor costs. Job 306 is sold for 635,000 cash in April. Cost of the 3 jobs worked on in April follow. So the first thing they require us to do, which is part 1, determine the total of each production cost incurred for April, direct labor, direct materials, and applied overhead, and the total cost assigned to each job, including the balances from March 31st. So what I'm going to do up here first is set up the same thing that you guys have in the book. Direct materials, direct labor, applied overhead, beginning goods in process. Direct materials, direct labor, overhead. So we had 3 jobs, 306. All right, so direct materials for job 306.
29,000.
Direct labor,
20,000.
applied overhead,
10,000.
and so that means beginning goods in process was 59,000. All right, job 307, direct materials, 35,000, 18,000 for direct labor. How much? 9,000 for applied overhead, beginning goods in process. 62,000. Was there anything for 308 in March?
No.
So that means that we can add both of these. How much does that come out to? 121,000. And then direct materials for 306 in April.
135,000.
135,000. Direct labor.
85.
Applied overhead.
We have to multiply the direct labor by 50%.
The predetermined, right?
Yes.
Applied overhead means where are we? 85,000 times 50%.
42,500.
42,500, and I'm just gonna make a little note here. Labor
times 50% predetermined overhead rate. All right. Um, so the total cost just here, 135,000 plus 85,000 plus 42,500. 262,
Mm-hmm.
500. And when we add this plus our 59,000, what do we get?
321, 500.
Okay. Direct materials for
220,
220,000. Direct labor
150. Same thing, take 150 times 50%. 75,000.
75,000. The total for these three 445,000. Total for here and here.
5%.
Okay. Do we finally have direct materials for 308?
Yes, we got direct 100,000 plus 105.
105.
52,500.
Did they give you that?
No, 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 no.
You calculated it, right?
Yes, same thing.
52,500, which is the 105 times 50%. What are these two added together? 3.
257,500. It's the same thing again. 257.
Okay. So now we
have
gotta
to
add
go
across.
across, yes.
What's this first line?
35 plus 2 plus 104.
Direct labor.
455, yes.
Direct labor.
340.
Applied.
169.5. No, it
No,
shouldn't
no,
be
no.
170.
These three added.
Somebody else. No, within something.
5, 7. That's 9.
965,000.
Plus 121.
965 plus 121,000.
1,000,000 something. Hurry up, hurry up.
1,086,000.
Even.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that's just part 1.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Take your time.
No, you are going to send it to us. She will have time to do it.
But she's gonna need it to understand the next journal entry.
No,
I'm almost finished now.
it's already recorded. You're going to send it to us. Even me, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, I don't think you get what I'm saying. We're in class doing it now.
Oh no, she has a lot to take from this one.
No, she can just write it in.
I said, yeah.
Just write it in your book.
I don't write it, okay?
Oh, I'm good.
Yes, I don't write it, okay?
Okay.
Take it because this one is from my homework.
Oh God. Part 2. Prepare journal entries for the month of April to record the following. So we're gonna go through A through F and record these lovely journal entries.
It is lovely. It is nice. I like it.
Wait.
When I finished last night, I finish around 11:30, and then I have to go to work at 4:30 early. When I get it, I say, oh yes, I like it. I'm gonna.
Do you like it so much because it's on the homework?
Because I did it.
Oh.
Because when I click, it's all green. I was so happy.
You are
And
one.
then waste my time, you know.
One of a kind, because nobody ever says they like anything in managerial accounting, let alone.
No, I like numbers. That's why my
I
first
like them
nature,
too, but guess what?
my first nature is
You
to
could not pay me
I
enough money
really
to
like
do it.
numbers.
And I mean, I've always felt that way. When I took it, it was cost accounting,
Oh yes, the
and there
first
was a
time.
lot of other stuff going on with that. But I always said I don't ever want to do that area of accounting. You have the choice to pick those types of things when you get a degree and you start working somewhere. You can say, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." And this was the one thing that I said I wouldn't do. And believe it or not, did I ever envision that I would be here teaching it now? Not at all. Not at all. As a matter of fact, how many of you took Miss Nathani before? Miss Nathani Geneva?
Oh yes, me.
Okay. So she was here when I took this, and it was cost accounting back then.
Oh, she was your teacher.
Yeah, practically almost everybody here was my teacher. And it's sad because now that I teach this, I'm like, I ask her all the time, don't you want to teach it again? Like, she won't take it back for anything. She won't teach it again for anything. But I'm just kind of stuck with it.
I didn't take this before.
I don't, well, I guess they are, but it's just sometimes it can be a little awkward.
You know
Especially
what I would like to do?
what?
Like as a tutor, I mean for the people who doesn't speak English and taking these classes, I was thinking, I said, okay, I may help them with my language, I don't know.
It's probably a lot of money in that. Do you know how many students we have to deal with that have like English is not their first language, so they have probably failed a class just because the teacher didn't understand
That's happened.
them.
That's happened. That's why Miss Paula was giving me something in error because I always have people who don't speak English but try to explain them, even though I don't speak English very well, but I understand everything. You see what I'm saying? So I try to explain them step by step what they should do. I get my error. I didn't even get it. Nobody give it to me. Just take pictures. That's all.
Okay, so that first one, material purchases on credit, factory payroll paid in cash, and actual costs, overhead costs, including indirect materials and indirect labor, factory rent utilities are paid in cash. So we got at least about 4 or 5 of them to record within this one letter.
No, it will be 7.
It's 7? Okay. What's the first one with the recording of the materials?
Raw material inventory.
So I'm going to debit raw materials inventory
Yes.
and credit
Credit account payable.
accounts payable. What amount are we looking at?
362. No. 500.
500,000. Okay. Second one to record that payroll.
Is factory payroll
Debit factory payroll.
and credit cash.
How much?
Can you tell me? 363.
Is that Miss Gayatri with that soft voice? Trying to get something out. Next one, indirect materials.
It's factory overhead.
Factory overhead, what's the credit? It's indirect materials, so where is it coming from? Raw materials, inventory, that little soft voice. I hear it, but,
30.
how much?
No, 50,000. Yes. I don't. No, I don't. No, this one is the. only one.
Okay, what about indirect labor?
Indirect labor,
Factory.
factory overhead and payroll. Factory payroll,
How much?
23 indirect labor.
Okay, record the rent. What do we debit? Factory
Let me do
overhead.
this one here.
Because remember, it all falls under overhead. And then credit what? Cash. How much?
20,
32,000.
Okay. I told you this one, I get this one, well, I mean, mine.
Okay, factory, the utilities. Look, factory overhead is still factory overhead. What's the credit? Cash. What amount?
19,000. I don't know. Isn't it? 19.
Okay, accumulated depreciation. So the factory, other factory overhead. So debit factory overhead. Credit what? Yeah, accumulated depreciation.
Factory equipment.
51,000. Okay. That's just letter A. What about B? They ask us to record, we gotta assign those direct materials.
Within process.
Debit goods in process. Credit.
Credit, raw material inventory.
How much?
Can somebody tell me, because like I said, it's three.
Well, the
635,000. 400.
remember the grid we just did before,
Yeah, you take it from
and goods in process would have been what? Huh? Not 59,000. Look on that grid that we just did. Think about it. March would have been finished goods, right? April would have been
beginning.
the goods in what? Process. And if we're assigning direct materials to jobs, and it says here, yeah, that's it. 307, job 307 would have been the goods in process. The goods in process would be the total cost in April. Not total cost, but the one added in April. Job 307. That 445. Oh, no.
455.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Yeah, 455,000.
Yes.
Oh, because it's April.
Direct materials only.
Yeah.
I was looking at the wrong area. So for
155.
April direct materials, the April total for just direct materials, 455,000. That grid we just did.
No. Remember the one?
Yeah, the
Remember
total.
one you did like
That's
that?
what it is, the total. Okay.
So we also have to do direct labor. This was for direct materials. What about direct labor?
340,000.
So we still do debit goods in process, credit what at this point?
Raw material inventory.
No, we're doing direct labor. Factory payroll.
Oh, okay.
How much is it?
340.
340,000.
And also overhead, that remaining overhead.
Yeah, it is for me. It's 86. How much is that?
Goods in process, what do we did, credit?
Overhead.
Factory overhead, and what's the amount? 170?
Yes.
Okay. C, we gotta record those jobs that were completed, right? Which 2 jobs were completed?
It was 306 and 307.
306 and 307. What were the total costs for 306?
Remember the amount?
What was the total cost for 306?
321.
321,500. And what about 307?
507.
507,000. So you're gonna add those 2 together, right? And what are we gonna debit and what are we gonna credit?
Finishing good inventory
Finished goods inventory
and good in process inventory.
and goods in process for what total?
This is what? Nobody do it?
I hear the button, so I think somebody is.
Yes.
Uh-huh. 500. All right. D,
Cost of good.
cost of good. We're recording the cost of a sale of a job because they were sold, right? So a debit to cost of goods sold, credit to what?
Credit to finish.
Finished goods inventory. What's the amount?
635,000.
635. Okay. That's not it, but I ran
No,
out of
you
space.
got 2 more.
Okay. And E, I'm assuming is next.
Yeah. It's a cash. No, cash and sell.
Recording the sale of a job, so a debit to cash, credit to sales. What's the amount?
It's on the sheet for
What just happened? Wait a minute. I think y'all told me the wrong thing.
what?
For the cost of goods sold.
Yeah. It's not 635,000 for this cost of goods sold. What is it? They gave me that number, but it's job 306. And how much did 306 cost?
Oh, because is this for April, right?
To 400 something. I don't have this.
It's not 400 and something. Remember up here you added these 2? These were the total costs right here. Up here. So this was for 306, remember?
Yeah.
And this one was 307. 306 cost.
321.
Yeah, 321,500. All right, so cash sales, how much?
Now you can put 635.
What about F? What are we recording?
Cost of goods sold.
Cost of goods sold. What's the credit?
No, we have to do the overhead to make sure how much we got.
Is the account factory overhead? All right. So
Indirect material, indirect labor, factors.
So we had indirect materials, right? How much were they?
It's 50,000.
50,000.
50,000. And then we had indirect labor,
22,000.
factory rent,
32,000. And utility, 19,000. do the
Depreciation.
51,000.
Now all of this total together gives us what?
And
175,000.
minus the
Now, what was the overhead applied?
is B number 3.
What's the amount?
B number 3. 170, 170, 170.
And tell us how you got that 170.
Minus this one. 5,000
Tell me how you got the 170.
is the factory overhead.
So 5,000, is this 5,000 under applied or over applied?
Under applied.
Under applied. So now coming back up here, 5,000.
If the sum the 170,000, if it was here,
Flip flop.
yes, flip flop. I'm sorry. If it was flip flop, it will be over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime the applied is less than the actual, then it's under applied. If the applied is higher than the actual, then it's over applied. Part 3, prepare a manufacturing statement for April. Use a single line presentation for direct materials and show the details of overhead costs. So, I'm gonna let you get that down before I do the statement.
Please send it to us, please.
Yeah, all of that can be sent to you. This is recorded, so that'll be placed on the front page. What kind of time are we getting? It's 6,
What?
18.
August. August.
8 o'clock at night. 8 o'clock is 8 o'clock. 8 p.m. tonight.
So you guys have this, right? All right.
I'm gonna give you a break after we get done with this problem.
And send us.
Okay, so they want us to do a manufacturing statement, right? What do we start off with the manufacturing statement?
Oh, that's direct.
Direct material.
I didn't even think of that.
How much were the direct materials used? 455,000.
I remember.
Direct labor used 340,000. And then we have to list out all of the factory overhead, right? And I can pull it right from over here. We had indirect materials. We had indirect labor, rent, utilities, depreciation.
Oh, no, 50,
50,000.
22. Oh, 22? She put 22.
No, for indirect labor was 22. Was it not?
No.
So that means it's wrong over here. 'Cause y'all told me 22. How much is indirect labor?
23,000.
It might be.
No. Did you say 5,000? Okay, it's not, she got it.
Okay. 23,000.
32.
Rent 32,000. Utilities
19.
19,000. 51,000. And we know from over here that that equals 175,000, right? And then these are the total manufacturing costs. We have to add what? What are we adding next?
Oh, the four sixty-five.
Goods in process as of what date? The little boys, March 31, the little boys back there. How much is it? All of these added together would equal that amount.
Did you guys do 59? It couldn't be 59,000.
No. We haven't done the manufacturing cost.
970,000.
Now 970 plus this amount, goods in process as of March 31st. How much is March 31st? I mean, the goods in process. Job 306 and 307.
Oh, together, that was at 8.
121,000. And then adding those together. No worries. 8?
No?
Wait a minute, actually, we added.
2 and 2. 8, yeah. No. 0.
Okay. And this becomes total goods in process.
Sorry. I didn't go from yet.
Okay. What do we subtract? Before that. Didn't you have goods in process as of April? Don't you deduct that? What was the goods in process for April? Job 308.
Say.
Oh, 100. No,
308.
208. Say. You write it down.
Uh-huh. So we deduct that, and what else do we deduct? The underapplied?
Under applying 5,000.
So tell me what this cost of goods manufactured is at this point. Still getting back to the same number, right? Okay.
If you do it, you don't find the same number. That's what it's
but if it was over a five, then you would add.
whether or not. If it was over, we put plus and minus.
Right, we wouldn't put it in parentheses, it would just be a
Okay.
positive number.
Okay.
Okay, so part 4 says, compute gross profit for April, show how to present the inventory on the April 30th balance sheet. Now, what goes in gross profit? What is the equation for gross profit? Well, you did most of the work already because we just set up and did what was that, cost of goods sold?
Direct Okay.
If we are trying to find gross profit we take sales and we subtract what?
You said 600.
Sales minus what? Cost of goods sold equals gross profit. So with that said, what were the sales? Yes, 35. What about the cost of goods sold? 300 what?
I don't have it.
Yes, you do.
For 306?
No, I don't have this number. This number
For
come from my
306, for
Yeah,
306, the
computer.
cost of goods sold was how much?
Oh,
But what
you
else?
want the total?
Yeah.
The total is, was 1,000,000.
Cost of goods sold is just job 306, but the 321 plus what?
321,500.
Remember this?
321.
We had 321,000, right? Plus, didn't you have some under applied?
5,000.
Oh, 5,000.
That's added. So 326,000. Which means that gross profit is what? Oh, was it 5,000 or 321 500?
Yeah. 321.
So what's the what is gross profit? The total. 635 minus 300.
313, 500.
That can't be right. Say it again, guys.
308,500. Hold on. 635.
326.5. Now,
3085, yes.
how that other part of this, how are we gonna present this on the balance sheet? When you're doing a balance sheet, and they're just talking about the inventory part. But generally you would have inventories on that balance sheet in the asset section, and you would start off with raw materials, right? And what else would you have? Goods in process, and then you would have finished goods inventory. So with raw materials, how much was it? What did you start with?
80,000.
What did you purchase? Beginning was 80,000. Purchases, which of course you always add, were how much? 500,000. And direct materials used, we just did that part. How much was that? Say it again.
455.
455,000. You subtract that. Indirect materials used. How much did you use in indirect materials?
50,000.
50,000. And so that means 80,000 plus 500,000 equals 580,000. Subtract 455,000. Subtract 50,000. What do you get?
$75.
So this is your raw materials inventory. What about goods in process? From job 308, that was the one left, right? That was not complete. So what's the goods in process inventory at the end of April? How much?
57,000.
And what about finished goods inventory? The only thing that was finished was job 307.
186.
Uh-uh. Just job 307. What was the inventory?
The ending.
Yep.
About 407.
How much?
Like 407,000.
507,000. So that means total inventories are gonna be how much?
507,
Uh-huh.
839,500. Are you okay? I see.
Okay, 5. The over or under applied overhead is close to cost of goods sold. Discuss how this adjustment impacts business decision making regarding individual jobs or batches of jobs. Bless you. So we remember that the 5,000 was under applied, right?
Yes.
And so what effect, if any, would that have on jobs or a job, jobs or a batch of jobs? What does under applied mean?
Yeah.
So if it's overhead, and we know overhead is a cost, right? If it's under applied, then wouldn't that mean that the job is gonna be under costed? If the overhead is under applied, meaning under the actual,
Twice.
then wouldn't that mean that the jobs are gonna be under costed as well, or under applied as well?
Yeah.
And that also means that the profits are gonna be what? If the costs are under cost, the profits are gonna be what?
Under. Over.
Overstated. So in other words, the way to look at it is, I came in too low on what I budgeted as far as cost, which means that I'm gonna put down that I made a certain amount of profit, and I really didn't because my costs were really,
High.
higher than what I had
profit was,
estimated.
yes, my profit was low.
Right. Okay, so it is now 6:41. Can you get back here by,
Can we go home?
No.
I know, you're just so used to that these past 2 minutes. You gotta be back here by 7, and we're gonna do a few more problems, and then we're gonna let you go.
You know what program I would like to do, because this one I stuck on it, I just do nothing.
Was it one of the ones I assigned you?
Oh no, it did not assign it, but it was on the
Which one is
the 19-3A.
problem?
Most of the homework is problem. Hey, Dr. Winnie.
I can't change that, that's the next.
15 minutes, right?
You see what, do you know exactly what I'm about to ask you?
What about why those problems are
No,
going
no,
on?
not those programs. Before that, they usually give a demonstration, like show us step by step
Mhm.
how we can do the program, whatever. But this time we don't have nothing.
Yeah, that actually happens to be, that's just that managerial side.
We don't really have nothing. So we have to look until it is hard.
That's why you get as many.
I went on YouTube, I went everywhere to see, my goodness, what should I do?
So we'll go over that one, since you say it's on the homework. That'll be the one we'll go over. And hash it all out.
Why? I don't know if you have 19. This one? following information about it.
Okay. So exercise 19-7, which was one of the ones that I assigned you. The following information is available for Lockheed Company, which produces special order security products and uses a job order costing system. Compute the following amounts for the month of May. Number one, cost of direct materials used. How do we find cost of direct materials used?
You add beginning,
Beginning raw material inventory.
what raw materials purchased.
So beginning raw materials inventory.
Plus the purchase.
Plus purchase raw materials
Uh-huh.
minus ending raw materials.
Oh, wait a
Less
minute.
ending.
What's beginning raw materials inventory?
43,000,
43,000 purchases.
210,000,
And so these two added,
252,000
Oh yeah.
and what is this amount?
raw materials used.
Oh no, this
You-
is
you-
raw
you- you-
materials available.
Oh, I mean available.
All right, what's next?
Ending raw materials.
Less.
Minus it.
Minus ending raw materials. How much are those?
52,000
52,000, which gives us what?
201,000
201,000,
minus
and that's total.
direct materials used. Right?
Total raw materials used, same thing. And what else do we do?
Less indirect material use.
Less indirect.
Material use.
Um,
Okay.
How much are indirect materials?
15,000.
15,000. And that is gonna give us what, 201,000 minus 15,000? How much is it? 186,000 from the itty bitty voice in the back. All right. Two, cost of direct labor use.
that's 340,000.
340,000
You say how much? I don't figure it.
for the payroll. 245.
So, what do we start with?
Oh, we start with the cost of direct labor use. The total factory payroll.
Which is how much?
345.
345,000. Okay.
Minus the indirect labor.
Less indirect labor.
80,000.
Which gives us how much?
345 minus 265. Are you okay?
I got a pencil, hold on. Cost of direct labor.
You are
The
accounting. Use. Spending. Yes.
Okay, what's the third requirement? What are they asking us for?
The cost of manufacture.
Cost of manufacture.
Yeah, for the third one.
no cost of direct labor used.
Cost of goods manufactured. What do we start with?
The beginning good in process.
which was how much?
10,000.
Okay, what's next?
Where did you find 10,400?
At the top.
Okay, I see.
Good.
What's next?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Next one, plus direct material.
How much?
direct materials.
Uh-huh.
We have to calculate direct material.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we already did it.
Oh yeah, 186. So we calculated already.
Uh-huh.
That's why I said we have to calculate it.
What's next?
Plus overhead applied.
No, it's not. After you do direct materials, you also do what?
Direct labor.
Direct labor, which is how much?
It's 150,000.
265. Now we can do overhead
Mm-hmm.
applied, which is how much. You don't have that. You need to
Calculated.
calculate that. And what's the predetermined overhead cost? The predetermined overhead rate.
If you don't have it, it's supposed to be
You got that
predetermined.
The direct labor.
70%. So direct labor 265 times 70% gives us what?
A number.
Which is
185.5.
185,500. 185,500. All right, add everything together here. And give me an amount.
$646.7.
All right. What else do we do?
We are going to do the cost of We are going to do the cost of
What's left, folks?
No, we're done with this
You're
one.
not done.
Oh no, less engine good in process inventory. I was so far.
21.
How much?
21,300.
So now cost of goods manufactured is how much? 625, 400.
Yes.
All right, next, what's number 4? What did they want us to find?
The cost of good.
Cost of goods sold,
Mhm.
which is, what do we have to do to get cost of goods sold?
Beginning, finished good, inventory.
Beginning finished goods inventory, which is how much?
Oh, beginning finished goods is 63,000.
63,000. What else?
Okay. I get those. Where did you find the 63,000?
Under April 30th.
Oh, okay.
What's
Right.
next?
Well, the next one is cost of good manufactured plus cost of good manufactured.
Plus cost of goods manufactured, which we got in the previous part, right?
625,400.
And what else?
Less engine finished good, which is 35,600. I thought you were just what I'm doing.
You said you don't understand what you're doing?
I said I start to understand what I'm doing.
So 63,000 plus 625, 400 minus 35,600.
652.8.
What number are we on now?
5.
5, what are they asking for?
Profit.
Gross profit, and we just did gross profit in the
Yeah,
previous
Sales
one.
minus cost of goods.
Sales minus cost of goods sold.
The sales was
Just 1,400,000.
1,400,000 cost of goods sold
minus, 652,800.
gives us a gross profit of
747.2.
what's next?
The over apply and under apply.
So overhead, what do we start with?
Indirect material.
Indirect materials, which is how much? 15,000. What's next?
Indirect labor.
Indirect labor, which is how much?
80,000.
What's next?
Other overhead.
Other overhead,
120.
120,000.
Okay, let me do the calculation. 15 plus 80 plus 100. 120.
Mm-hmm.
215.
Okay, what do we do after this?
We put the over apply.
Over applied,
Yeah, good.
which is how much? Remember, you calculated that back in number 3 when we
Yeah.
did the predetermined overhead rate. What was it?
185.
Uh-huh.
Got 30,000.
That plus overhead applied 185.5, which was the 265,000 times 70%. So what's
Should be
our
minus 30,000.
30,000?
Yeah.
No, it's something 5.
215. Oh yeah. I didn't put the 185.5. I did put 185. 20. Okay. 215 minus 185.5.
500.
And this is over applied.
500.
Is this over applied or under applied?
Under.
You sure? Why?
Because the over apply is less than the total incur. Isn't the right answer? Isn't the way I should say it?
What did you say?
I said it's under apply.
It's under applied, but I asked why.
Because
Because
the
actual is what?
actual is,
It's more than the over
yeah.
The actual is greater than the applied.
applied.
Oh, okay. The actual is
If actual is greater than applied, then it is under applied. If actual is lower than applied, then it is over applied.
you are going to need to do something familiar now for me. Incur is the same with action.
Incurred,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Okay. I want to make sure.
Incurred means that it happened, so yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
19.3.
Believe we are not doing it. It'll take a whole 2 hours.
We can go home now?
I don't know.
7:10. 1 hour.
Class ends at 8. Right?
Yeah.
No, seriously.
You look tired, so
I'm always tired though. You know, all my classes are on Tuesdays. All of them. And they're all face to face. For 3 hours each. Which things that I just found my
So what time you start to work?
9, but I have to be here at 8 because so much to do to prep for class.
And to answer your email, everything, oh yeah.
Or try, at least try. But I don't always, get to do that. Did I ever print out for you guys the project? I printed that. Do you have it? Because I would like to think that it is a good idea for you to at least
You got it? You got it?
get started.
No, she doesn't have one.
I'll print you out one.
You had one, I was about to say.
Okay, even if you don't have one, just share with somebody. Miss Burton. Miss Burton, how long after will you be back?
I don't know. So you are going when? Tomorrow?
Check out.
Do we go tonight?
No.
You wanted to come out with you directly, don't you? You never know.